Yo, what is up, guys? James Carter TV, and it's time to give you all an updated 2016 NFL mock draft. 7 rounds for the Tennessee Titans, and then this weekend I'll probably release a new mock draft in general. But today we are talking Tennessee Titans, as I'm sure a lot of you love to talk, because I have a good amount of Tennessee Titans fans that follow and subscribe to my channel. And boy, do I have a present for you. 3 mock drafts can be found in the description box below, and I will discuss them here. The first mock draft is what I believe will happen if the Tennessee Titans stay at number 15 pick overall, which is looking less and less likely as more news, rumors, and speculation comes out. It appears as if Titans general manager Jon Robinson is looking to move up yet again, continuing to want to move around in this draft. And we're going to see whether or not that actually partakes. And I have another mock draft that deals with the scenario of them actually moving up. So I have a scenario of them staying at 15. I have a scenario of them staying at number 9, and I have my own scenario saying if I was the Titans general manager, what would I do? I would probably stay at 15, and this is what I would do at 15. Let's start with what I would do, just because I'm selfish. Number 1, 15th pick overall, I think you take Laquon Treadwell, and I don't think you bat an eye. This guy's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver for years and years and years to come, a Pro Bowl wide receiver. We're going to be looking back, we're going to say, what were we thinking by not drafting Laquon Treadwell? I believe, as the Tennessee Titans fan base and a lot of NFL teams will be thinking this as well. And I think he is an absolute perfect fit with Marcus Mariota. You think about what is Laquon Treadwell's biggest weakness, right? It's his long-term speed. I mean, in terms of just going down, long-distance speed, I should say. In terms of going 40, 50 yards downfield, can he beat cornerbacks? Can he beat safeties? Probably not. But does Marcus Mariota throw 40, 50 yards? Are the Titans running go routes out the ass? No, they're not. Their move is to do 15, 20, 25, maybe 10-yard routes where Laquon Treadwell excels. It's a perfect fit. I mean, you're talking about Laquon Treadwell, who loves to run slant routes and corner routes and curls. Oh, so good with the curls. So good with the goal line fades. So good with screens as well. I mean, he's so difficult to bring down on screens. He's almost guaranteed to get 10 yards almost any time he gets a screen pass, because, I mean, just go pick up the film, look at this guy. This guy is so hard to bring down. He always gets at least 8 yards on screen passes. I think he's a perfect fit with Marcus Mariota. I think he's different than Dorial Green-Beckham in that he's already a better route runner and that he excels in the short to medium range, and that's where he's going to make a lot of his money. You give Marcus Mariota 2 tall tree trunks and Dorial Green-Beckham and Laquon Treadwell to be his Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, to be his Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, to be his Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, this great wide receiver duo, presumptively, assuming they both actually end up doing well, that can carry this football team, carry this offense for years and years and years to come. That's what I would do. And the second round, I would also do this. Then I would take my tackle. I'd take tackle Jason Spriggs, who I believe will still be around at pick 33. Pick 43, I would take Kendall Fuller, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech. I think we are in dire need of a corner more than some people realize. Jason McCourty did not play at all last year, and when he did play, he wasn't very good. I'm not sure Jason McCourty can be a number 1 corner for your football team anymore. I'm not sure Kendall Fuller can be a number 1 cornerback, though. I think we're going to look to draft a corner in the first round next year with one of our first round picks, whether it be Jalen Tabor out of Florida, whether it be Adoree Jackson out of USC. I think a cornerback is very likely in next year's draft, but I want a number 2 right now. That's fine. We can get a number 2, and we can take Kendall Fuller out of Virginia Tech. Next, we have Austin Johnson out of Penn State. I think this guy and Jarrell Casey would just absolutely shred offensive lines. They would get to the quarterback. They would put fear in the quarterback's eyes. Love me some Austin Johnson, defensive tackle, nose tackle out of Penn State. Third round, I would take Vonn Bell, the safety out of Ohio State. Rashad Johnson, only on a 1-year deal, so free safety will be a need yet again next year. But not if you take Vonn Bell, who can be groomed to take that free safety starting spot. And then I have outside linebacker Jordan Jenkins going with the 76th pick. And I like him as a pass rusher. He's not, well, maybe not a pass rusher, say, as an outside linebacker. He's kind of like a strong side outside linebacker in that he's not really going to be a great pass rusher, but he can be very stout against the run and possibly replace Derek Morgan if he doesn't do very well this year, which we may need to start looking at. I think Brian Orakpo is fine. But Derek Morgan, I need to see a little more from him. I'm not seeing enough from him. So I'm taking Jordan Jenkins and I'm putting him behind Derek Morgan. I'm saying you better start doing your job because Jordan Jenkins is right behind you. And then 5th round out, they're taking Tyler Higbee, tight end out of Western Kentucky. I think this guy is a tight end sleeper to watch out for. You put on a highlight package of this guy and you see him making plays like Rob Gronkowski makes. I mean, you're talking about a guy that can just catch the freaking football and be a bulldozer in the football field or on the football field. Tyler Higbee is a guy to watch out for. 6th round out, they're taking Spencer Drango, offensive guard out of Baylor, and then 7th round out, they're taking inside linebacker Jared Norris out of Utah. So that is what I would do if I was the Tennessee Titans general manager, but as we know, I am not. So fine, let's get into what they probably will do. And I've accumulated every single player the Giants have visited, worked out, have a private visit, have, checked their medical records, have, measured every single inch on their body. I've checked everything. I've found as much information as I could find, and this is what I believe is now the likely thing to happen. Let's start with a mock draft of them staying at number 15, them taking Jack Conklin out of Michigan State. This is the rumor that is going around. Again, although I really believe Laquon Treadwell should be the pick here, I think Jack Conklin will be the pick here. And I don't think we're going to regret it. I think Jack Conklin will be a fine right tackle. I think we're just going to miss out on Laquon Treadwell. But it's a fine pick. He'll be a right tackle for years to come, and that's fine. All right, next we have at pick 33, cornerback Mackensie Alexander, whom I don't love. I don't love Mackensie Alexander. I was on the record on this back in January. Remember, back in January, actually, Mackensie Alexander was being projected to go as high as number 12 in the draft. I said, what are people talking about? And now NFL teams, they must have heard me because Mackensie Alexander's been falling down, and now he's in the 2nd round, and he could be in the 3rd round. Like I said, he should have been in the first place. That's why you listen to James Carter TV. All right, so I don't love this pick, but we did meet with him. It could also be Xavien Howard, who I'll get into later. I think we're going to take a cornerback here, and I think it may be Mackensie Alexander. I think he'll be fine. I mean, I think he'll be a decent number 2. I don't think he's going to be a number 1, but maybe a decent number 2. All right, next we have Kenny Clark out of UCLA. I would like this pick. This will probably be my most favorite pick of what I have. Thinking that we will do. I mean, I don't think that we're just complete idiots. I mean, unfortunately, teams aren't me, so they're not going to do exactly what I would do. So that's why I'm saying I'm a little mediocre on some of these picks. But anyway, I would like this pick. Kenny Clark, defensive tackle out of UCLA. This guy can come in and be a great nose tackle for years to come, for 8 to 10 years, be a great plug in that defensive line. I don't like him as much as Austin Johnson, who I mocked to us in the last draft, but I do really like Kenny Clark here. Next, we have outside linebacker Kyler Fackrell out of Utah State. I'm being a little presumptuous here because we actually have not even contacted this guy as far as what I've been able to find. But I think this is where we're probably going to take an outside linebacker with this third second round pick. I think this is where we're going to take a pass rusher. I think it's probably going to be Kyler Fackrell. I think he's still going to be available here. I think it's actually a really good pass rusher, so I really like this pick. Next, let me tell you, we're taking a tight end early. With one of these first 6 picks, we're taking a tight end. I'm already convinced. We have been looking. If you haven't noticed, let me report it. Let me tell you. This Tennessee Titans team has been looking at Austin Hooper hard, and that's why I have them getting with the top of the 3rd round, pick 64, Austin Hooper out of Stanford, whom I don't love. Unfortunately, and I really wish I loved it. I think Austin Hooper will be fine. I don't think there's any chance of him being a 1,000-yard tight end, which I know is a high reference frame to view. I mean, you don't have to be a 1,000-yard tight end to be successful, but I don't think he's very good. I think he's okay. I think he serves a job. I don't think he's spectacular in any sense of the word. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll come here 500 yards, 600 yards. I just think there's limited. I don't see the upside with Austin Hooper. I really don't. People tell me he's athletic. I don't see it. I mean, you can go look at the film, go put on a highlight package. You're not going to see anything that wows you like you see with Tyler Higbee, like you see with Hunter Henry, like you saw with Eric Ebron a couple years ago when he came out. I don't see that with Austin Hooper, but we're looking at him hard. And I think that's where we may be going. We'll see. I mean, they want to, and I heard John Robinson say this. I'm not sure if you heard me. I said last 7-round mock draft that I made for the Tennessee Titans, I said that I heard John Robinson say that he was interested in getting a young developmental tight end, and no one was listening, but I was listening, and I reported this, and then guess what? Now you're hearing more and more about them visiting with tight ends, talking with tight ends. And then everyone's like, oh, I think they want a tight end. And I was like, hey, I've been saying this. But okay. Next, we have Sterling Shepard, wide receiver at Oklahoma. I don't think the Titans view wide receiver as much as a need as I do. I think it's a big need. I think it's a huge need. I think it's maybe the second biggest need on this football team. Maybe third. At least third. I don't think they do. I think they may take one here. They may not take one to the 5th round. But if they do take one here, it's probably going to be Sterling Shepard, who they met with a little bit, and I'm sure that they like. Next, we have, in the 5th round, Kevin Byard out of Middle Tennessee State, MTSU, who continues to rise up draft boards after his pro day, had a nice combine, or maybe he wasn't at the combine, actually. But anyway, this guy, a really good athlete, can hold the mantle and be a nice free safety for this team, or a strong safety, but probably free safety because Norris Cersei is one of the better players on this defense. Can be one of the better free safeties, I think, in the league in a couple of years. Just groom him behind Rashad Johnson and then let this guy grow 19 interceptions in his 19, I believe it was 19 interceptions in his career. So, with that said, next, we have offensive guard Rees Odhiambo. I'm going to be honest, I don't know who this is. But when we get to the 6th round, I don't know who people are. I don't. So I'm sorry, I don't know. So I go to CBS or I go to ESPN. I find players, prospects at this point, and I just plug him in here. So this was an offensive guard. He fit this draft value, so I just put him in there. And then 7th round, inside linebacker Josh Forrest out of Kentucky. I don't know who this is, but I know the Titans like inside linebackers from Kentucky. You have Avery Williams, and they have Wesley Woodyard. They get another one here in Josh Forrest. There you go. All right, next. This is assuming that the Tennessee Titans trade up back into the top 10. And I think this is actually a very, very, very viable scenario. I have them trading up to the 9th pick overall. Now, really quick, let me say something about this. There is talk that we could use another 2nd-round pick to trade up. I think this would be so dumb. You keep those 3 2nd-rounders, please. Because assuming you draft well, those are starters, guaranteed 100%. Trade a 3rd-rounder, that 64th pick, and couple that with a 7th or 6th-rounder. I have them trading that 3rd pick, the 64th pick, coupling that with the 222nd pick, the 7th-round pick, so 3rd and 7th to move up 6 slots in the draft. And this is actually about value. I went to the draft value chart and I looked, this is the value. If they use a 2nd-round pick, that's dumb. That's way overvalued, especially considering the fact that the Bucs want to move down and the Bucs are not going to be holding this pick at high value. There's no reason to use a 2nd-rounder to move back into the top 10 unless you're going to the top 5. So you better take only a 3rd-rounder, but only give them a 3rd-rounder to move up. So I assume that's what happens. At number 9, they take Ronnie Stanley, who I believe is probably going to fall there. If not him, maybe they move up for Vernon Hargreaves. I wouldn't love this. I think he's a number 2. I think he's a good number 2, but not a great number 1. I don't think he's a bad number 1. I just don't think he's a number 1. So, in the corner, that is. So, it better be Ronnie Stanley if they're moving up. If you want to move up past this point, then we can talk about Laramie Tunsil again. We can talk about Jalen Ramsey again. Oh, I would love to talk about Jalen Ramsey again. But I think this is probably the likely thing that they move up. They take Ronnie Stanley. If they move up and they take Jack Conklin, which I've heard, I think that's so dumb. I think that's so stupid, especially when I'm not convinced that Jack Conklin is the best offensive or the 3rd best offensive tackle in this draft. I think it's Taylor Decker out of Ohio State. So I don't know why we're having conversations about moving up for Jack Conklin. You sit there and you take Laquon Treadwell. But anyway, let's move on to the second round. Last time I had them taking Mackensie Alexander. Let me go for the other scenario here, and that's them taking Xavien Howard, who they've also met with, who they've also worked out, who they've also visited with. This is another possibility here. 43rd pick. Again, I have them taking Kenny Clark because he's really the only defensive tackle that I've heard. I would love to say Austin Johnson, but I haven't heard anything about Austin Johnson. I've also heard about Vernon Butler, but I don't think Vernon Butler is going to be here. If they're going to take Vernon Butler, they're going to have to take him with the 33rd pick, but it's possible because they have met with Vernon Butler as well. So we'll be looking out for that. Next, I have them taking outside linebacker Kyler Fackrell. There's too many K's right there. With the 45th pick in the second round. I think this should also be a good pick, as I noted earlier. Third round. Now, the 64th pick is gone. They have the 76th pick still. I talked about their affinity and love for tight ends in this draft. I had them taking Austin Hooper. Now I have them taking Nick Vannett out of Ohio State, and I like this pick more. I think Nick Vannett is better than Austin Hooper right now. I think he'll be better for us than Austin Hooper right now. Big problem with Vannett, he's not a very good blocker. He likes to say it's because he wasn't asked to do it at Ohio State, and I want to believe him. So we'll see. Bring him into this offense, have the tight ends, coaches, and all of that, and Delaney Walker teach him how to block, and he already has very nice receiving skills, and I see much more from him than I do Austin Hooper, so I like this pick a lot more. Fifth round out, they're taking Kevin Byard again out of Middle Tennessee State University, and then sixth round, I have them yet again taking Rees Odhiambo, who, again, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this guy. I don't even know who he is. He's an offensive guard. We need an offensive guard, and he comes here. So, there you go. My 3 mock drafts. Again, all this information can be found in the description box below. And until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.